No, we can both.
Okay, we're going to go with that. I'm going to continue to kick the table as I slide into my space here until we bolt the table down.
Are we going?
We're going. We're live.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Not technically live, but we're going.
No, it's good. Hi, I'm Skylar.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Experts of None. I am Joe Pesky, with a microphone in my face. Hopefully you can still see enough of me to see my magnificent beard and awesome shirt today.
And I'm Skylar Traxinger.
I like the effect.
And I got headphones.
And he has headphones. I will have headphones. The problem is that my head is really wide, so we have to get ones specially made. I think they come from Sweden or Austria or probably Taiwan. So one of those foreign countries.
You see, podcast 2 is going to be 3 hours of me getting used to the lag. Because it's like a quarter-second lag in my headphones.
So it's like you're listening into the past.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Time machine headphones.
If only.
Yeah. But I think we're going to sound good on this one.
I hope so. I really hope that we're getting to the end of our audio issues. They're not comfortable? Don't like them?
I think it'll be better once we both get headphones.
Do you feel out of place?
Well, I can hear you talking, and then it's like...
So you hear me talking, and then you hear me talking again, and...
Yeah, it's like the row.
Oh, that's great. That's hilarious. Well...
That's all. Now just gotta get the jiggly table.
Yeah, no, I really like the effect. Every single time I touch the table, I jiggle, and then everybody there sees it.
Our 10 viewers brought it up.
Yes, yeah, it was a big sticking point. Well, not only does the table wiggle, but then my laptop does this. So I get this double jiggle effect going, which really does awesome things for my my body image.
I smell merchandise.
Yes. Everybody do the wiggle jiggle. Yeah, no. Trademark. Experts of None, 2017. I don't know if I can actually do that, but I don't know. That breast cancer charity. What was it? No. They've got the pink ribbon and
breast cancer.
Well, it's not just like general breast cancer. It was Susan G. Coleman, or I think they tried to like trademark the color pink.
Ooh.
Yeah, and like they were going out to sue other breast cancer foundations that were using the color pink.
I could see maybe trademark your own pink, like the Susan G. Coleman pink.
Maybe, but like the whole color.
No.
I can't get behind that. I mean, especially for the cause you're supporting. You know, I mean, I could see, well, if this awareness fundraiser uses the color pink, then it might detract from people that would normally donate to us. But really, ultimately, if the dollars are truly going for, breast cancer awareness and detection and prevention, I don't care which charity it goes to.
No.
Just as long as it's actually doing some good at the end of the day.
That's true. I feel guilty though. Like, I was just at a party where I'm talking like a college party.
No, yeah.
No, just I like good in pink.
It's a nice color. I happen to enjoy it. I have a pink shirt, actually. I probably. I mean, pink is my favorite color.
But if anything...
Let me give you a free examination.
I was trying to think quickly, like, who could own a color. And the only thing that came to mind was Prince owning purple.
Maybe.
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 Prince
but
purple.
Well, the artist formerly known as Prince. Well, and then, see, that was it too. It just, I don't know if you can pronounce that symbol, because that was his name for a while. It just, yeah. It's kind of like that funny, from German classes, that funny, almost bee-looking symbol. It kind of has a long tail on the left-hand side, and it looks like a B, a capitalized B. That's actually a double S sound. So, if I were to say, Ich heiße Josef Pesky, Heise, H-I-S-S-E, Heise, you could replace those two S's with that symbol, and it means the same thing.
I don't know why. It must be like just Nazi residue. But
it's built into the language, though.
No, I'm just saying, like, when you just said that, like, all I heard was Kaiser, not... you know?
You racist bastard. No.
It's bad, I know, I'm German. The Kaiser is Kaiser. Check. This is like Kaiser 9.
Yeah. Ich heiße Josef Pesky. What?
Did you watch The Office?
Yeah.
There's an episode where Dwight Schrute is giving a speech at like their company. He received an award for best salesman, and like he doesn't know how to give speeches. So Jim, like the guy that's always messing with Dwight, teaches him a speech that I think Hitler did. He like tells him to pound on the podium. Oh, he gives the speech, and
oh, that's so good.
And at the end, everybody stands up. And
you know, for as terrible of a person as Hitler was, he was an orator, and he was a good one.
What?
An orator, a speaker.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he could speak to the masses and appeal to them. I love that comparison. Joel Osteen probably doesn't, but he, I mean, he.
Podcast number 2, Joel Osteen equals Hitler.
Yeah. We'll get a certified letter within the next week. It's got people looking out just for this kind of shit. But really, the ability to reach people is tremendous. You go and you announce yourself, and you introduce, and you pay enough attention about these other people to garner a sense of what it's going to take for you to manipulate them to do what you want to do. I mean, it takes some real skill to be able to do that. And I say skill, but I know some people come to it more naturally than others. Some people are just a little bit more charismatic than others, and it's very interesting to me to encounter people who are like that, because I know what they're doing, and you can see the charisma. Some of them are just soaked in it, and some people are fake. Some people are just outright, I can't get behind anything you're saying.
Well, yeah, but then people seem to succeed. Like, it seems like people are bad at calling bullshit.
Right.
Like I don't know what kind of example this is, but when I must have been like 7th grade, my mom had like a psychic out of her house.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, I don't know.
That's interesting.
You know, it was like, so I was in my adolescent years, so I didn't really know what to think, but it just, I was like, bullshit right away. I was like, what do you, like, oh, your little boy that was lost? And like, yeah. Like, I'm sure everybody's family had like a little boy or a little, you know, you can tie connections.
Right. I've read up on how some of that works, and I mean, you can make some general assumptions, and people will give you anything you ever want to know.
Absolutely.
Anything you could ever want to know.
I can't say absolutely.
I know. I'm trying to watch my ums as well. Certainly. Certainly. I am certainly going to try to not use absolutely.
How the hell do you go from Susan to
I love that. I love the way that it flows. It's so tremendous. That's a tremendous. I'm going to try to count how many of those I put in there too.
Yeah.
That's bad.
But
yeah.
No, you said that the likability, like I like music a lot. Like I could do that with music. Like all new music today, bullshit. But I find a few little artists. Sing, like Lady Gaga.
Yep.
Real.
Yep. No, that's soul music. I mean, it really is. She's singing it from the heart.
She's one of the ladies that like 80% of the population would be like, oh, she's so fake. You see the way she dresses? All she wants is attention. It's kind of a weird conundrum where I'm stuck on this.
You know, the way I see Lady Gaga is this: when she started, she had to set herself apart from others.
Yeah.
And I think her attire was a way to do that.
Yeah.
It was a way to garner some of that attention so that people could hear what she had to sing.
That's true.
And now that she has attained that notoriety, she can be far more honest with herself and really present more of herself.
Certainly.
I
like that.
You know, because I've got like 6 of those in already. I was counting them. I lost track after like 40. No, you knows.
Oh,
you know. Don't you know? God damn.
Oh, did you guys look that far?
Anyhow, I do believe that it allows her the freedom to present herself in a way that she wants to. Now, I don't know that she was ever really restrained or constrained to a particular thing. I do think it was, this is what I need to do to set myself apart, and now it is less of that and more, I can do what I want because people have heard my voice. And those that want to listen to me will, and those that don't won't. And I don't know that she will gain too much more of a fan base. You're going to have those people that are hardcore fans. You're going to have those people that are like, yeah, I like some of the tracks, but she's still a little out there for me. Oh, every single, yeah, and that's great. I love that, and I really,
we love the gays here.
I'm all for it.
Experts of
LGBTQ plus, I think is what it is.
Like, God, I always bring up Joe Rogan, but
that's okay.
No, there's
he won't mind.
No, he won't. Maybe he'll share this.
I'm okay with that too.
Probably not, but no, there's this professor up in Canada, the University of Toronto.
Mm-hmm. I shouldn't show my eyes.
They have like 75 to 80 gender pronouns that you have to use now, like Z and Kai.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep. Oh, I'm not a boy. I'm not a girl. I'm a lot.
Right. It's part of this gender fluidity.
I don't know about that.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, if I misgender you, I apologize.
Yeah.
You know, tell me what you want me to use as a pronoun, and let's get on with our day.
Yeah. Right.
Because I'm certainly not going to judge you based on any sort of sexual orientation or identity that you're going to have.
Yeah.
That's your business.
Yeah.
I could care less. Just tell me what you want me to call you, and we'll work together on whatever it is. Because I've heard that there's a ton of different pronouns, and there's no way I'm going to be able to know one you're going to identify as.
Yeah, that's... And, honestly, I don't think even to these people that want to be called these pronouns, it's that big of a deal. There's just too much information. Like, you know, there's one wacky one in the woodworks that comes out and complains and throws a big fit, and then the news is all over it. And
I agree with that. I think and that's with any type of group, but you really get those individuals that stand out and make a big fuss about things, and that's how people label the entire group. You know, you have, that individual that is throwing rants and just having a big fit over the fact that they were misgendered in this context at this place, and there's no way that anybody else is going to be able to know that.
No.
It's just not. It's impractical. But because these groups are, I don't want to say marginalized, but they're small and unique and scattered, and they're not very cohesive. When you do have these individuals that stand out a little bit more, that's what people like the media or just your average person who reads about these different cultures or subcultures or subgenders, whatever it is. That's the perception, because we're not in that scene, and we wouldn't be able to relate any other way than the information that we're presented.
Yeah, but it's like a catch-22 because that's all you go off.
How do you ask?
Yeah, because me and you, there's not a big LGBT, I'm sorry if I did that wrong, but area where we live,
right?
So all we know about is what we hear from the news, which can be construed by one wacky story. And
yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. And I mean, right, and that's just it. Is you have groups of people that are sensitive to particular pronouns or particular ways of being addressed, and we simply don't know.
Yeah, no.
And it comes down to patience on both sides. If this is how you want to present yourself, I'm fine with that. Bring it on. There's not much you're going to say that's going to offend me, but you also have to educate me.
Yep.
Because as it is, I can read what I read, but unless we have some sort of interaction, I'm never really going to fully understand what's going on.
Yeah. No, that's how I felt in the whole thing too. And like the whole bathroom issue too. I was like, Trump's got to get on board with this. Like, fuck it, build an extra bathroom. Who cares? It gives plumbers work. It gives.
Architectural design individuals. I mean, electricians. I mean,
some people want to pee like dogs. Make a dog peeing room. Where you lift your leg up.
Isn't that just called the shower?
Yeah. Why not just make one room and just a drain in the middle?
There you go. You just have these like little paths that you can walk on. Yeah. Just like little bidets all over the place. Doesn't matter what you are, you can just come here and do your business. And the whole bathroom thing. It's a controversial thing. I don't believe that we're going to have men dressing up as women for the sole reason to go into a women's bathroom.
No.
I really don't.
Pretty ballsy.
If they were going to do that, they were going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think allowing transgender individuals to use the bathroom of the sex that they identify as I mean, if anything, a man going into a woman's bathroom is just going to be confronted with stalls. you're not going to find any urinals going on in there. So I don't.
And honestly, if chicks go over and see my son pee, I'm like, high five, buddy. There you go.
Now we're getting into an equality issue. See what you've done to us. Man, we're off on a strong start. I love this. I need more. Do you have? Oh, you threw it in the freezer.
I put it in the freezer.
And I ate one of my 3 ice cubes, and now I'm down to a half. So I better hold on to it. Yes. Today we are sponsored by these fantastic glasses that hold our delicious beverages. This bottle of Jack Daniels, which is currently holding up Skylar's phone, and some slight audio issues that plagued us before this recording began. Hashtag not sponsored. Yet. Someday. I'd love to, whoever would love to...
Who made this fine wine?
That's true. I don't know if they want their name out yet, but...
K&BM.
Yes, that's probably the most we could do. This is some fantastic homemade wine. It is absolutely delicious, and if the gentleman that gave me that bottle ever watched this, I thank you greatly, because it really is. I couldn't ask for a better batch than this. This is a February 2017 vintage.
Shit, that is good.
Isn't it though? This is a cherry plum. I don't think I have the proper words to describe how delicious this is. Oh, it'll come back to smack you in the head.
God, that's good.
Yeah, we were drinking little glasses. All 3 of us. We were. We ran through it like it was nobody's business. But
good size, man. All of your good sizes.
Oh yeah,
we're drinking little glasses.
We're gonna get for schnookered. So on a Thursday evening, where we have to be to work in the morning. So
that's fine. Busy times.
It's busy enough. We'll get it run out.
Graduations.
Oh yeah. My brother graduates Saturday too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not high school.
You have a brother in high school?
Yep. He was the youngest one.
Mistake?
No, just the latecomer. I was actually the middle child. It was a yours, mine, and ours kind of situation.
Joe's brother, you're not a mistake. I'm sorry.
Did not mean any offense.
So does he do the whole sports thing?
Not too much. Not too much. Although I did hear he was thinking about becoming a police officer.
Oh shit.
So I think that's kind of cool.
That is awesome.
Excuse me, I'm going to pick my nose on camera here.
We love the police here
on Experts of None. Blue Lives Matter. Can I say that?
Ooh.
I don't know. I better not.
Yeah, that's...
Hashtag the police are not all terrible. They're not. It's just the same as in any profession. You're gonna have those people that give other people in that profession a bad name. I think we also have that happen in our school system.
Okay.
You have bad teachers.
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they're terrible. They don't care, whatever it is.
Yeah, they're at school starts at 8. They show up 7:45.
Right.
Done at 3:30. They're gone at 3:45.
Right. Yeah, the people that don't put in the extra time or the effort don't really care about the kids. They're just kind of there. They don't have anything going on, and they really make it difficult for our good teachers that really reach out to our youth and inspire them to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there was this whole teacher pay raise thing that happened here not too long ago, and I heard more than one person say, "Why do we need to pay our teachers more?" And it blew me away.
Did he talk like this? How many years did he have?
That's just it. Is how, and I don't know whose fault it would be, but how could you feel like our teachers couldn't need better salaries?
Well, honestly, to me, like, I kind of thought about this. And I think what happened is we developed schools, and I think like the old country house school was just, the wife, the smart wife of the group in the community just got the kids together and kind of taught them,
Right.
It hasn't evolved since then. It's still kind of considered, you're a teacher. $80,000 worth of student loans. You $30,000 a year.
You got stuck with that one. Yeah.
Retired and still making student loans.
Right. I mean, you're 67 years old. Only 5,000 left to go.
Yeah.
And it breaks your heart because teachers are, I mean, they're one of the biggest influences in your child's life outside of the parents.
Yeah.
I mean, some people see school as a surrogate babysitter. They just shove the kids off to school in hopes that the school will produce a decent human being. And that's not what they're there for.
No.
The school's there to educate your children about the world, but that's a shared responsibility with the parent. Parents are busy people. There's jobs and bills and events, and I mean, everybody's busy. But your children should be a priority in that, and you need to take a vested interest in their education and educate them outside of school. Educate them about the world and in subjects that the school is not going to touch on.
Yeah. Well, there's so many tools. Could you imagine if you were in like 3rd, 4th grade, you had Google Earth? Or YouTube? I mean,
it would have been amazing.
It's so easy.
Tremendous.
Like, it's so easy to further your kids' education.
It is.
At home now.
It is. My wife has bought books and toys and games meant specifically to help foster learning outside of the school setting. There's additional math problems and science things, and I am big into science. I like math, but I'm big into science, and I bought some books, and I'm going to do the projects with my daughter, and they're great. I'll bring them on. I'll show them. Hashtag almost sponsored, and it's a great way to learn together because you don't realize how much you forget until you have to use it again.
Yeah.
I went to college for chemistry. I love chemistry. It's amazing. And there's all sorts of types of chemistry. I liked material chemistry. To be quite honest, I enjoyed blowing shit up and starting fires and hashtag not an arsonist. But seeing the different chemical reactions, what happens? Why does it happen? Those things were very interesting. I'm a big why person. Tell me why. If you give me a rule, tell me why. Is it because it'll save me from cutting off my fingers? That's fine. That's good. Why? Just don't tell me because I said so, because I'm not going to believe you. But that's one of the things that drew me to science, and I'm going to do those things with my daughter and my son because it fosters that imagination that we were talking about when I knocked my microphone off in the previous episode. But you have to be involved.
Yep.
Make the time, take the time for your children.
That's what I'm just wondering. When is that teacher thing going to evolve?
Right.
Be like, these people aren't.
When will teachers
We were being flying
Right.
before
the role of a teacher is seen as one of the most important roles a person could hold in our society. This person is literally teaching the next generation of adults and how they receive their education, the quality of education, matter to the decisions that this person will be able to make going forward. And we need good decision makers. Speaking of decision making, I feel very, very strongly about this. This is something that bothered me very deeply, is the potential losing. I don't know if it's completely done yet, or if it is, that makes me even more upset, of net neutrality.
Yeah.
The whole net neutrality thing, it wrenches my heart, because net neutrality is what allows us to do what we're doing today.
Yep.
And have just as big of a voice to the internet as Google does, or as Microsoft does, or as Comcast does to anybody. Net neutrality is the backbone to a free and open internet. And to vote against net neutrality is voting against the people, and it is voting for corporations.
So who started this? Like whose idea was it to be like, hey, pay more, get what? Because you pay more and you get more bandwidth.
Right, and that's a business model that a lot of companies employ in a lot of things. You'll see that in your phone service.
Yeah.
If you pay more, we'll allot you more bandwidth. If you pay more, you get faster speed. It's the same thing you get to your house. But the difference is, within the speed that you get from your ISP, individual sites aren't throttled. So it allows small people the same opportunities as big people.
Yep.
And
sounds like America.
Well, one of the counter arguments, and there are a number of them. One of the counter arguments is it's too much government interference. And I'm for a limited government. I think that the government should keep the cohesion amongst the states, and the states should be able to decide. But, and I had this discussion with another gentleman at work who's very politically charged, and I described to him, I think some sort of hybrid is necessary. There should be some things that are consistent amongst the states. I feel like the federal government should bring some consistency across the states. Things like gay marriage. I think that if you're married in one state, it should be recognized in every other state.
Yeah, what?
What
does it matter? Like,
I don't know why that's I do know why. It comes back to our discussion on religion.
Yeah, but
it shouldn't matter.
All these marriages are happening outside of the church anyways.
Right.
So really, if you feel that makes your marriage irrelevant, it doesn't, because it didn't happen in your church.
Well,
which is why,
and it didn't force you to have a divorce. It didn't impact your life any.
Not one bit.
Not even a little.
And if you want, go look at the gay marriage divorce rate compared to non-gay.
I know quite a number of
crazy, like 10%.
very religious individuals within some churches that frown on divorce.
They got a divorce.
They got more than one.
Yeah.
And to think that gay marriage is somehow going to dilute the sanctity of marriage, I think is absolute folly. People that follow a religion and feel so strongly about gay marriage but still have a divorce of their own are hypocrites, because they're they're picking and choosing what fits for their narrative. So to say that a gay marriage would be recognized in California, but not in Utah, Kentucky, or Texas, or Maine, or wherever it is.
How are we? South Dakota. I don't know.
You know, I'd have to look. I don't think so.
I don't think we have gay marriage.
Things like that should be consistent. And the same should go for how ISPs act. The internet, to me, should be a basic human right. It is so important for, basic communication amongst individuals.
Yeah.
That is how people get their news. That is how people call each other. That is how people interact with the world. Without the internet, we couldn't operate.
So what's the problem? What's wrong with the way it is now?
The thought is that it stifles innovation. And that's exactly the look I gave. And
Tell that to Mark Zuckerberg.
I would have to read more on the arguments for the removal of net neutrality. It's
you know who started this all?
Who started the removal of net neutrality? ISPs. Our internet service providers, the big players, the Comcasts, because there's profit to be made in the removal of net neutrality. Right now, ISPs fall under Title II of the FCC. There was a big thing about the FCC where they tried to impose these net neutrality rules a number of years back under Title I, and the FCC was sued, and a lawsuit was won against them because they didn't have the regulatory power to limit ISPs or to regulate them in such ways. So they moved ISPs under Title II, which allowed them to regulate how they did business for their internet providing. They could provide different speeds to the houses, but that speed had to be consistent for every internet connection.
Okay.
So you've got different sized pipes to the internet, but you couldn't constrict what was inside that pipe.
Yep.
And that was huge for anybody that uses the internet.
Yep.
But it restricted how ISPs could model their business. And one of the arguments against net neutrality I've heard as well, it stifles the industry. But, and if you look at America in particular, internet service providers are a natural monopoly in America.
Yeah.
You've got about 3.
Pretty much.
For most of America. You don't have choice. And one of the arguments against net neutrality is as well, if you remove these regulations, you could have new ISPs come in, but you can't. Small players in the internet service provider industry can't afford to run on the same poles, can't afford to run underground in the same lines as everybody else, because it all has to have a shared infrastructure. And to me, internet is just as much of a utility as power and water. And those are natural monopolies. There are a small number of providers that build the infrastructure and provide the service. You move or build your house close to water and power, you get hooked up. It's the same with internet. You don't have new players. And to not regulate ISPs in such a manner that they can throttle certain sites means that you're going to have ISPs that are going to take advantage of that. One of the arguments was, well, that's hypothetical. If you look at the way other business is run, it is not far-fetched at all. to think that if Comcast were to have their own video providing service, that they would throttle YouTube or Netflix, unless they were to pony up enough for it. And even then, who's to say it wouldn't perform on the same level as something else? So to think that, in my opinion, to think that removing net neutrality is a positive only benefits ISPs.
Yeah.
And those are not the people that need the benefit.
No.
It is the users. It is the end users. It is the you, the me, the YouTube, the Reddits, the 4chans, because the internet should be free and open to do whatever it is you want.
It's already kind of in that way, because like my old job, that's what we did, is like these smaller telephone companies, we updated them from copper to fiber, and the majority of the projects were government funded, part of the rural development and all that shit. They didn't have that. They wouldn't stand a chance.
No.
Every town, decent sized town, like Midco, or it was just part of Comcast.
Right.
Quest.
And it hits us out here so much harder. Your rural communities are really the ones that suffer. In a larger city, in your Minneapolis, St. Paul's, or Cincinnati, or whatever it is, you do have some choice. In Mobridge, South Dakota, you do not. In McLaughlin, South Dakota, you have even less. So it is really disenfranchising these smaller communities. You're stifling the business of that small town grocer, or butcher shop, or clothing store, or flower shop, because they can't have the same access to the world as everybody else. And in my opinion, killing net neutrality is one of the worst things that we could do to innovation on the internet, because it kills the sites that can't afford to pay.
Understood. This is a good one.
I know. I got a little ranty on that one, but
Purple rain, purple rain.
I don't know. I get passionate sometimes.
I'm passionate about Red Sox baseball.
Ooh.
I love Red Sox.
Love that. That's a nice shirt.
Thank you. I'm on a new diet. Well, I'm trying it.
Tell me about
It's
it.
not quite a diet.
Okay.
Just pure protein.
Except for the alcohol.
Except for the alcohol, the sugars and that's right outrageous.
That's okay.
Pretty much what I'm trying to do.
If you don't look at them, they don't count.
I looked at it like this, like, I heard a good quote, by the way.
Okay.
Fuck. Oh. The way a physicist would explain. Was it a physicist? Yeah. A physicist would explain the diet in one sentence.
Okay.
Intake less calories than you burn.
Fair.
It's a diet.
I agree.
But
If you consume less calories than you use in a day, you should lose weight.
But from what I understand, your body burns carbohydrates first.
Yes.
And then the proteins.
Right.
So I'm just intaking the shit out of protein. I drink like 4 muscle milks a day.
Low carb diets are a thing. They're really helpful for individuals with diabetes. When my wife was pregnant with our first child, she had gestational diabetes, and we went on a reduced carb diet. So we ate a lot of eggs and meat, and we stay away from bread and rice and sugars in general. Sugar is your Yeah. And so is bread, apparently. I love bread, by the way. I just, the food, I remember the food pyramid. It just, I think that thing's been outdated since it was introduced. Oh yeah, it's gone. I don't even know what it is anymore. But.
No, that's the way I looked at it.
No.
Alright, protein is fat.
Yes.
Or carbohydrate is.
Well, you get proteins and fat, and they tend to come together.
Yeah.
And while we were, because I did that low carb diet with my wife while she was on it, and not only did she lose like 30 pounds over the course of the pregnancy, while she grew a 9.5 pound baby.
Yeah.
So tell me how that works. I also lost weight because I stopped eating carbs, which I, would hold on to for the next 15 years. So they work, especially if you can stick to them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like, alright, so my body's wasting all this time burning off this crust of this pizza I had, and then I did the pepperoni and the cheese, and it's just all storing.
Right.
And I was like,
I think
protein.
I think
Constantly.
is it called keto? Keto. You'll have to look it up. I think it's like a keto diet. KETO.
Okay.
And I think that's a low or no carb diet. That's like meat or protein and fat based.
It was like Atkins.
Right. So you can have your steak and you can smother it in butter, but don't eat the roll.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know.
I'm gonna stay away from butter.
Butter's delicious.
But this wine is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had sugar all day. It's delicious.
Oh, it would have been delicious even if you had sugar all day.
It's not an easy diet. I've been freaking twitching.
Some of their wines are really sweet. I got one that I thought was a little bit more mild. We'll have to. I've got another one that I'm afraid is going to be like. I've had some Colony wine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I mean, you take a whiff of it and it'll knock you on your ass. And I think I've got a bottle from these guys that's gonna be sweet like that, like almost too sweet, kind of sweet. We'll need more than 6 ice cubes, I think, to weather the storm.
Lived with the hood right college.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We lived in Double-Wide, in Mitchell, and we had a lot of big parties that now show up on the background checks, but
it happens. What do you do?
We had this big party, and as soon as a kid shows up and start talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, I ran away from the colony like a week ago." I'm not even lying. The kid literally showed up, and he was probably 17. We were all 19, 20, 18. He shows up with a fucking goose, not a goose that he shot, like a pet goose, like a white goose with the orange bill.
Okay.
Yeah,
just live goose.
Alive. He's got a goose and a freaking duffel bag.
Oh god.
So we're drinking, and I don't know what happened. I ended up leaving and came back, and our oven was going. He was cooking that goose. He killed that goose, skinned it, cooking her out.
Why not? Why not?
And my roommates were like, "Yeah, he has to stay," and then he cooked this goose.
And it was an amazing goose.
It was actually really good.
We couldn't tell the guy to leave because he cooked us a goose.
Later it started our oven on fire though because of all the grease.
Oh shit! At least the goose was good.
Mm-hmm.
And
that didn't burn our house down. The fireplace burned down. Burned it to the ground.
Really?
It was really a weird situation. Yeah.
Wow.
So we had, like I said, Double-Wide trailer house, and we threw this beer pong tournament party. 64 teams, so that would be 128 people, just in the tournament in a Double-Wide. Plus, probably.
How do you fit that many people in there?
They fit barely, but plus probably
standing room only.
60 to 70 people just
hanging out.
So yeah.
Holy cow.
They ended up busting our house that night. Like we just started the tournament. But We lived in a trailer court, so you could imagine like 50 vehicles in a trailer court. Yeah, cops got
down and around.
So they freaking
literally can't drive down the drive.
They busted our house, and we had 4 people living there, and 2 of the roommates ran. Me and my other buddy were like, well, fuck, they're gonna...
They know who lives here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if nobody says that they live here, they're just gonna look at the freaking rental agreement.
Yeah.
Bust us anyway, so we stayed. And shit, they put it on us too. Like, they didn't even care about... They're like, well, they weren't here.
Shit.
But yeah, they gave out, gosh, Gebhardt's gonna have to fact check me on this, but I think it was over 100 miners.
Wow.
Just at that party, and we got a day in jail for every miner.
Holy shit.
But they suspended it down with some community service and stuff, but I don't know what my point of this was, but...
It was just a good story.
Yeah, it was a great story.
It was a great story. Oh, yes.
But no.
The Hoodorite wine. That's how we got back here.
Yes, but the fire. We had a fire in our oven that didn't cause it. So a week after they busted this party, they noticed like some little local tweakers around the party.
I'm imagining a group of people just walking around the neighborhood twerking.
No, so they're like, oh, this is a drug house. So a week later, freaking... No, I wasn't going to knock on the door. It was like the kick of the door, the DEA radio.
Oh, shit.
And it was like a Monday at 11 a.m. I just got home. I just got home from like my first class. I only had a couple classes in college that year. Yeah, they stormed our house and pulled me out and flipped all our couches. And
oh, God.
A guy in a wheelchair interrogated me. What ended up happening was a buddy of ours, one of my roommates, went to this other kid's grandfather's house, and they stole like a case of Leinenkugel.
Okay.
I guess they've done this regularly. So the grandpa put up a game camera and caught my buddy right on it. So they had this picture, and they're like, "Do you know this guy?" And I didn't know what he did. It's like, "Oh my God, Scooter had sex with an underage girl."
Oh shit! You're never gonna see him again.
And they're interrogating us, and they let us go, and then they charged my friend Scooter, and we all got back to the house. Everything's just a fucking wreck. I was like, what did you do? And he literally looks at us and like, this little case of Leinenkugel. And we're like, what in the fuck? So
this is what I get for stealing.
Yeah, so house gets busted. Week later, DEA raids. Week later, our fireplace starts the whole place.
Holy shit.
Burns it to the ground.
Oh, God.
Doesn't seem sketchy at all.
No.
But
no.
Literally, like,
no.
And then I moved back home.
I don't think coincidence could be applied to this kind of situation.
God, no. It was...
Oh, shit.
Who said it? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Isn't that the starting line to Tale of Two Cities?
Yeah. Mitchell and McLaughlin. For me.
Oh.
Yeah. I've been through some shit.
Bullshit. Network connection. Please connect and try again.
Okay.
Look at that, Joe. You talking... We're on mid-continent, and you're talking net neutrality, and all they shut our Wi-Fi off.
Yep. They're like, none of this shit. These guys are going to start an uprising.
Experts of none.
Experts of none. No internet for you.
Yeah. Fans are zero.
Connection's going to be so shitty nobody will watch it.
Yeah.
I'm killing YouTube just for that.
I'm also depressed on the death of Chris Cornell.
God,
kills me.
Like, I saw that announcement earlier today too.
He is on my Mount Rushmore of musicians.
Yeah.
Me personally, like, God, what? And he committed suicide.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, hung.
I hadn't heard any more on it, just that he had passed.
Yeah, he did a concert. Well, Soundgarden, his original band.
Right.
It's back together, and they did a concert in Detroit last night.
Okay.
And then he's killed himself.
What the shit?
Multi-millionaire.
Oh.
With a wife, like a 12-year-old boy, a 13-year-old daughter.
You know, you hear about suicides like that, and it really drives home the fact that nobody really understands what another person could be going through.
No. Yep.
It's one of those things like with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And I had read somewhere that he had like a degenerative neurological disease, and that kind of fed into his depression a bit. But you don't understand the pains that another person could be experiencing outside of how they appear to the general public.
Yeah.
And it's quite unfortunate. In a number of things that go wrong in America, I feel like we have a mental health issue.
Yeah.
That either people are too ashamed or afraid to seek help when they need it, for fear of retribution or branding.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the crazy person.
Yeah. We probably live in the worst era for how often do you have person-to-person communication?
Well, you simply don't, and there's no privacy of any type.
No.
So if you do want to reach out, you're afraid to, for the fact that, well, if I reach out, perhaps it'll go further than I really want it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't feel like you can speak to people in confidence
Yeah.
to really work through the things you need to work through.
Yeah.
So it's quite unfortunate. Man,
Depressed.
I know.
Black hole sun, man.
Well, it's just like when I came down, you were playing Billie Jean, covered by him, and it's like I'd heard it 100 million times, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
No, like I said, he may be one of the greatest rock vocalists of all time. Literally.
He's good.
What?
So good.
And it makes the guy think, like, all the greats. Look at Cobain, OD'd, Hendrix, OD'd, Joplin, OD'd. You're looking up to these people, like, man, I wish I was that person. Really, do you wish you were that person?
And that's just it. Unless you really understand what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's just what causes. I think he was 52. What causes a 52-year-old man with a 12 and 13-year-old son, daughter, a life?
A life. Even
not an issue.
even outside of Soundgarden, just the life that he had.
Yep.
What would drive a person to that? And there's no way to know those answers.
No, probably on the inside, there might be some issues.
And there could have been. And I mean, there could have been regrets or, just bad feelings on decisions that had been made or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Could have been depression. It could have been any number of things.
Yeah.
But
glory hole pleasures. Could have been.
It technically could have been. I don't know that that's where I would have gone with it, but it technically could. You never know.
My favorite musician who died because he just loved glory holes. And his wife found out and was too embarrassed to embrace it.
Could have been. This was the easier path. And now that we've offended the rest of his fans.
Well, look at you, glory holes. And he'd still be here.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the point. Just own it. Whatever your thing that you're afraid of that people might find out, just own it.
It's you.
Own it. Why not?
It's yours. Why be ashamed?
Yeah.
Why suffer in silence because you feel like you'll be misunderstood or whatever it is? If it's yours, like you said, own it.
Yep.
It's yours. It's who you are. And we talked about lifespans before. You got about 70 years.
Yeah.
You might as well make them the best you can.
Yep.
Because you only really start off with about 50 of them.
Yeah.
That you can truly do something with. Once, you have to get past your teenage years and become a little bit of an adult, or at least slightly more autonomous than your average 15-year-old. Make it your life.
Yeah.
Do what you want with it. Make the move to a new town. Make the change to a new job. Whatever it is, you don't have time to regret your decisions.
No.
You simply don't. And I like to read a lot of inspirational quotes because I'm a very tired person, and it helps me get through the day. And there's one that I read about. I might have even seen this in a freaking Facebook post at some point, where you're dying to hit these different milestones, and I've done it myself as I look at people that are in a different time in their life than I am, and I envy that. I envy the people whose mortgages are paid and whose children are grown and are having children of their own and are making their own way in life, and
they envy your time.
And that's just it. They say, "Man, I wish I was 28."
Yep.
And that's just it. Is you gotta take some stock of that and be like, I wish I was as far along in life as you are at 55, while still being 28. And that's essentially the same feeling they're having.
Yeah.
Is they still wish they had all the things they've got now at 55. But also that they're 28. And we have a finite amount of time. And you don't get a coupon at the end that says, "Oh, you spent 20 years with that guy who beat you every day, but he still loves you and he's really sorry for it. Here's a coupon to go back and try it again."
St. Peter's book.
So really make the most of it. Holy shit!
Come across St. Peter.
The way I see that, and I know we talked about it before, but is if God is really as benevolent as I've always heard him to be, then he will judge me based on the life that I live, regardless of the worship or otherwise belief that I have not had. It's
why?
Why?
Not like
and
why?
No, and I've heard, and I've asked the question. I've been in a lot of groups, and I've asked the question, and people say, "Well, you just have to have faith."
Yeah.
And
why?
that's my response is why. And I see people who claim to have had a religious experience, and I am top of the skeptic list.
Me too.
I mean, I'm still gonna.
Little kid. Did we talk about this already?
It's very possible.
Unreleased though. Yeah, the little kid, Heaven is for Real kid, Todd Packer.
Oh yeah.
What was it, Todd Packer?
I know we were talking about. I don't know if you mentioned the name.
But anyways, a little boy that died, and then came up with the story that he's made and all this stuff, and which is really interesting. But then turned sickening when, like, a year after the book and movie were made, the boy, who was like 8 or 9, came out and said that his dad made him tell all that.
Right.
Like, how freaking creepy. And everybody was just like, it was a good movie, you know?
We'll just blow it off because who really wants to be...
have faith.
Yeah, you just have to have faith. And that's just it. Why? Why do I just have to have faith?
That's my biggest...
It's a difficult one.
My biggest conundrum with religion is just... it does not give you full potential for creativity.
Right.
You know? Like, that's why my daughter isn't baptized. It is because if she wants to be, it's her choice, but I do that, and I run her through the ringer, and when she's 18, and learns all this interesting shit about science and the universe,
Right.
but has this conundrum built into her for 18 years that, no, it's not like that.
Right.
No, the Earth's only 6,000 years old.
Right.
You know,
Personally, I think young Earth creationists are
completely valid as flat earthers.
right. They're in about the same group. But
you know, you ever been to Yellowstone?
I haven't.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I want to go so bad.
Going through the mountains, you have all these obviously have all this carbon dating on it. It's like, this rock is 252 million years old.
Yeah.
But the Earth's only 6,000.
But yeah. It's speaking of that. I was reading an article the other day about some young Earth creationists that were suing the scientists that control the Grand Canyon and what kind of rocks can be taken. It's like the Geological Society that exists to protect the Grand Canyon, because they felt like they were being unfairly discriminated against, because this guy wanted to take, it was like 60 rocks from the Grand Canyon for study. And there was a consensus amongst the geologists that grant the permits for that said, no, the rocks that you want are easily obtainable outside of the Grand Canyon. There's no reason to remove them from this habitat. And the scientist, and it blows me away. It blows me, and this is another tangent off of that same thing. When you see a person who is a young Earth creationist or an individual that doesn't believe in like evolution, and they have the title of doctor, and it makes me wonder if they got their degree from the bottom of a Cracker Jack box, because I'm not certain how you attain that level of education and haven't done the research necessary to see the truth behind the age of the universe or the truth behind evolution. But why are there still monkeys? It doesn't work like that. That's one of the most fallacious arguments you could bring against evolution. It blows me away. But he was suing these guys because he felt like he was unfairly treated. Okay. And they're like, nah. There's no reason for you to be removing samples from these areas. I don't know. It's a difficult one because you're trying to use science and like we talked about before, the great thing about science is it can change as new information is presented. As new facts are found and peer reviewed and verified by other scientists, the viewpoints of science change to reflect what we know. And science should be a representation of the most factual information that we as a society can obtain. Things like climate change and the age of the earth.
It all gets so political, though.
Yes.
It's a tough time with climate change. Just on the fact, after the whole green and ice wars, and it's a natural thing to me.
Right.
You know?
And
you go through history, and what a lot of people I don't think understand is climate doesn't mean weather.
No, they're completely distinct things.
No, climate is periods, temperature throughout thousands of years or hundreds of years.
It's a wide range.
It's a very vast.
It's a wide range of time.
And when you're talking, they look at these ice cores and it goes back like 500,000 years. And then that's all you see this line do is hot, cold, hot, cold.
Right.
Forever and ever. Like, as far as these core samples go, that's all the freaking thing does.
Right.
And then they talk about, we're contributing, which, okay, yeah, we are, but, I've heard arguments that, it's like, what are we adding, a part per million?
It's a relatively small amount, even for the amount of fumes and cars and vehicles
really
and
good fun fact,
industries that we use.
Really good fun fact that I don't think you know.
That's okay. I like learning new things.
Genghis Khan.
Okay.
Ruler.
I heard he had lots of children.
1200s.
Something like that.
Alright, Genghis Khan left a bigger carbon footprint than we did.
Really?
Like we are right now.
Really?
Genghis Khan slaughtered so many people, you can see the carbon footprint.
Wow.
This is fact.
Wow.
There's stories of Genghis Khan, there's stories of this Chinese. Chinese.
The word of the day is Chinese.
Exploring, they're going into the southern part of China, which they haven't been, because they're all up in the north. They haven't been in like 10 years. And off in the distance they see these, what they think are snow-covered mountains, until they get closer and realize that it's piles of human bones.
Wow.
That's Genghis Khan. He left a bigger carbon footprint than we are leaving right
That's I mean, that's
it was so crazy.
One of the most
He exterminated like 20% of the human population.
Prominent marks on history you could ever leave.
Yeah.
That's like going back to our previous conversation, like better than World War II, Hitler, Stalin kind of numbers. These are
crazy.
That's simply amazing.
Interesting people.
Oh my.
The Mongols used to drink horse milk, and then they'd cut their horses a particular way not to bleed them out, but they'd drink blood from the horse too. Very, very
interesting.
If anybody's interested in history, you need to listen to
Dan
Carlin. History. Oh my god. He goes into deep detail on this kind of stuff, and it's amazing.
Hashtag podcast collaboration. Collab.
Dan Carlin, our next guest.
Oh, that's tremendous. Tremendous. I said it again.
Tremendous. Certainly. certainly is.
I do think one of the most important things that we've done for our environment, as far as a society is concerned, is the reduction of the amount of chlorofluorocarbons that we release.
Go ahead.
Because they, and there's evidence to show there's a direct correlation between CFCs and depletion of our ozone layer. Where, and what's fun about it is there's actual hard science on the chemistry of the reactions between a chlorofluorocarbon and ozone. What it does is chlorofluorocarbons get into our ozone layer and they bond with ozone. Ozone is O3. And it breaks that bond apart. And when it does that, it releases that CFC back into the ozone layer to bond with more ozone. And what it does is it breaks that O3 into an O1 and an O and O2.
Okay, correct me here.
Yes.
Sunlight comes in.
Yep.
Hits our atmosphere, which is made of O3.
Yep.
Breaks down one particle of... Does it? Which brings down to O2. Something like that? I thought. I could be wrong. I'm an expert in that.
I know, I am too. I'm certain that there's some interaction there.
Or it breaks down two particles of oxygen.
I think a larger part of that is the greenhouse effect that we get from our ozone layer.
Yeah.
And so it is a light passes through it, bounces off the earth, comes back, hits the ozone layer, and then bounces back to the earth again. So we get this kind of a warming effect.
We don't want ozone. That's what's causing global warming.
Screw the ozone layer.
The sun will come in, nice and warm, bounce back, go right back out in space.
Right.
No more global warming. We're all freaking freezing.
Right. Yes.
Quit freezing.
Reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode. It was an interesting one, but so we produced CFCs like they were going out of style. They were in everything. Every aerosol can you could ever imagine had CFCs in them, and there's data to show when we started using them, and every year since, the depletion of the ozone layers on the poles was huge, to the point that there was no ozone in some areas.
Yeah.
And so you get extra ultraviolet radiation. We have less outside absorbance because, like you're right, some of that solar radiation bounces off the Earth and never really reaches the Earth's surface, and so you lose that, and we get a lot more energy pumped into our atmosphere.
Yep.
So we stopped using chlorofluorocarbons, and the effect was almost immediate on the reversal. We could see these large areas of ozone depletion start to close back in.
Okay.
And it was just really quite interesting to see these graphs over time of this change.
Doesn't that warm the Earth more?
I would think it might.
I don't
but the thing is I think the system is far more complex than we give it credit for. You know, I don't think humans are a sole contributor to climate change.
No.
I believe that there's a natural warming and cooling of the planets dependent on the sun's position in the solar system, and the Earth's position relative to the sun, and the moon's position relative to the Earth. and the interactions within our solar system simply have that big of an impact on our little rock.
It's hard to even, because how old are we? Like 200,000 years?
Yeah.
First hominid or whatever. Even that's a blip in time.
Right.
Compared to the whole damn thing.
Compared to the age of the Earth itself, when we're looking at rocks in Yellowstone Park that are millions of years old,
3 billion. That's nothing.
That time frame is insignificant, and the Earth will continue to be here long after humans have killed ourselves off.
Absolutely, yeah.
The worst we're gonna do is make it inhabitable for ourselves. Excuse me.
Until it all starts over and it all evolves again.
Right.
Here we go.
Right, and natural sciences are just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Our interaction with each other and nature, because it is a constant battle. We're constantly pushing nature back. You know, and
And I don't even know what you call anti-global warmness, because that's what I would be. What irritates me is people have no idea about anything, but because they're a certain whatever, I'm a Democrat, so global warming. It's like in instances of global warming, which we've been going through in the last 200 years, population goes.
And it comes back to
until you're 80.
Right.
You know.
It really comes back to things being politicized.
Yeah.
You know, I would identify as a Democrat, but I also agree with some things that libertarian individuals say. I agree with things that some Republicans say.
I don't like labels.
Well, and that's just it, because
that's the issue.
Once
instead of a Democrat, you need to be Joe.
Right.
You know. Or
I lead my life. I believe that gay marriage should be acceptable in every single state, and that should be mandated by our federal government, so that no state can say, well, screw you guys. But I also believe that our businesses should be able to operate as they see fit. So there's some things on all sides. I don't want to say both. There's more than two. There are many things on all sides of the political spectrum that I agree or disagree with, but it really becomes politicized. You say, well, I don't believe in climate change. Let's drill for oil.
Yeah.
And these things aren't necessarily, they're not mutually exclusive, but just because, excuse me, you don't believe or agree with the current model, and I want to say believe, you don't want to agree with how we currently model climate change, doesn't mean that you want to plant a coal or oil plant every 50 miles.
Yeah. No.
It's still important for us as individuals to invest in green energy, those that are renewable.
Which is another weird one, why? Oil itself is a monopoly. You have your few big players.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't these players moving on to something other than oil? Why isn't Exxon looking at solar energy? Because they have the funds to do the research.
Oh, yes.
They have the freaking manpower to
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely. Certainly. They do.
But why? Why are we stuck on oil? Why are we stuck on coal?
Money.
Money's not even real.
Money's as real as we make it. It's helped me pay my mortgage, but as a social construct, money is as real as we make it. It has the value that we give it. That's why That's why cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin work.
Bitcoin. I wish Bitcoin was.
I do too. And there are many people that don't like Bitcoin because
They don't understand it.
they don't understand it, and they fear a currency that isn't regulated. And to me, it is regulated in a way.
Yeah.
It's regulated by the individual, and by the individuals agreeing what this thing is worth.
Yeah.
To me, I see things like I see these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as what money used to be,
Yep.
and I think that's very exciting. But to invest in solar or wind, or I like nuclear energy. I don't have anything directly against nuclear energy, so long as, and that's important, so long as they are built and maintained in a manner that is regulatory and safe.
Scary as fuck.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Very.
But
I don't understand efficient, but
they're very efficient.
you try to.
They also provide an opportunity for additional study. We have vast amounts of nuclear waste that we don't know what to do with. It's sealed in concrete canisters that are buried in the earth, and we don't know what to do with it, and it's going to be around far longer than any of us.
Shoot it in space.
I would love that. I would love to get to the point where we're just like, oh, okay, we're gonna sit it in we're gonna send it up our frickin' space elevator and have it flung into the sun. I think that'd be cool as shit. But it also provides us an opportunity to learn. What do we do with it? How do we reprocess it? Can we use our nuclear waste as a means of propulsion? Can we use... Brings another thing into my head while I'm thinking about it. One of the proposed methods to interstellar or even like solar system travel was essentially igniting a large atomic bomb behind a satellite and letting it ride the shockwave out into the, which sounds ridiculous, but it would probably work. That's the guys liking to blow shit up kind of response. Let's just set off, a frickin' atomic bomb behind the satellite. And
here, Captain.
Right. Yeah. Good luck.
You'll be on board once you reach the moon.
Yeah.
The A-ball.
Just hold on to your seats there.
Install the harness.
It is a 5-point harness. You won't go anywhere. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for study and advancement, because as you look down the periodic table, there are many elements that are radioactive, and I think we still don't have the greatest understanding of their interactions and how we can use them to the best of our ability. And that's one of the reasons I like nuclear energy, is because it provides us an outlet for attaining additional knowledge.
Yeah.
And all the while providing clean energy for our homes.
Yeah.
The biggest byproduct outside of the nuclear waste itself is steam.
Tsunamis.
Not a direct result of nuclear plants.
Look at Fukushima.
Yeah.
Scares the hell out of me.
It is.
I don't know enough about radiation though. What is radiation? Because I'm a novice at radiation.
I was.
If I'm exposed to extreme radiation, what would happen to me?
I believe it is cellular degradation. So, radiation sickness, from what I understand, from what I've read, would manifest itself in a number of different ways. Depending on your dosage and exposure times, you could simply have things like nausea or headaches or vomiting or internal bleeding. You could develop cancers because a lot of what hurts are like your alpha particles, and I'll have to pull it up, but not on the video that we want to publish because it'll get knocked off. But I was watching a video the other day of this chemist. He's got a lot of really cool videos. If I had finished my chemistry path, I would want to be this guy. And he was in a nuclear facility in the UK, and he was looking at some samples of plutonium. And this facility was built specifically to be able to handle plutonium. And he was going through the precautions these guys take. They can hold it in a gloved hand because the alpha particles don't go very far and they won't penetrate the skin. But they had a lot of it in solution. And in the event that you were to ingest or inhale it, it would damage your body to the point that you would die. Right. Don't do that. They worked with it in pressurized boxes. So it was one of those you'd reach your hands into the gloves kind of thing. But these boxes, a lot of the times when you encounter a facility, those boxes, those containment units, they have a name. I can't think of it right now. They have a positive pressure about them. So the gloves you see are all pushed out.
Yep.
In this facility, they worked with negative pressure. In the event that they had a leak of that containment unit, they didn't want those particles released into the air. So they have negative pressure in all these boxes. And it was quite enlightening to see how seriously they took the safety regarding their nuclear, or rather, I don't want to say nuclear, their radioactive elements, and just how potent small samples, because they were working, everything I saw was in solution, in small vials, but every single one of them was labeled and accounted for. Everybody knew where it was at all times. I mean, there was it was the most extreme form of lockout tagout you've ever seen.
So is plutonium, is that something that's created, or is it something that's
something that's created? That's one of the byproducts from our nuclear energy processing, and we are trying to develop ways to reprocess plutonium for additional energy production. And that's one of the thoughts about if we can work with this nuclear waste in such a way that we can reprocess it, we can use it for additional energy production. Because you take standard mined uranium, which is relatively stable, and you go through a process of enrichment. And what it does is it changes the uranium to be more radioactive. It changes it to a different isotope of uranium, and that is what we actually use for our power production because it creates heat as it degrades. And we use that heat to power boilers, to create steam, to move turbines, to produce power. That's what a nuclear plant is.
The sun seems so much easier.
I would love to see us get to the point where we can make a little mini sun and be able to harness that energy, but not have it turn out to be like one of the first Spider-Man movies I remember seeing with Doc Ock, and he had the little mini sun.
Now, if you harness the sun, let's say instead of uranium, you somehow enriched sunlight or whatever, sun rays. Would there be a byproduct of that?
I don't know if you could enrich that. I don't know, because now you're working primarily with light energy or photons, and photons are weird.
They're fucking crazy.
They're weird. It was just today. In fact, I do a lot of in between everything else I do throughout the day. I do a lot of like minute reading.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking to the warehouse, I'm reading an article or wherever I can fit it in, because it changes my mind to other things. But I was reading an article about light and how it has no frame of reference.
No. Yeah.
So, to the perspective of light, it traveled from the sun to Earth instantaneously. Whereas from us as an observer, it took 8 minutes.
Yep.
And
speed of light, people.
The speed of light. If we could move 1/10 the speed of light, do you imagine what we could do? Where you could, if you were moving at the speed of light to Alpha Centauri, which is 2.5 million light years away.
And it's a star?
It's a galaxy.
Okay. How far away?
2.5 million light years.
I have a question.
Yes.
That maybe you can answer.
Okay.
Alright, I understand space has curvature.
Right.
If you could look far enough into space,
Right.
could you see light from the Big Bang?
I would think if you had the ability to look out across the universe and ignoring the laws of physics because you're looking out at the universe.
I'm pretty sure you'd be like, no, that's impossible because space is
right. And gravity wells are a very interesting thing. It's one of the reasons that you can't see black holes directly. It's one of the reasons that it takes a whole bunch of energy to get off the face of the planet. I would suspect at some point from the Big Bang, if that is how our universe did start, there would be some edge to our universe. And I would think if you were to be at that edge, that it would be visible. That some of that light that hasn't otherwise hit an object along the way, which if it is the edge of the universe and there's nothing beyond it, should have been nothing to obstruct it to begin with, it would be visible. I think that's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, I don't even know, like, people listening understand. I mean, it's pretty novice astrology, but, you know, you're looking at a star that's 3 million light years away, that light that you're looking at is
3 million years old.
You're not looking at a star.
And it could be older than that if that light had to pass through mediums that weren't just the vacuum of space. There are clouds that are light years across of alcohol, just vaporized alcohol. There are clouds of just these different materials, and there's an untold number of things that are out there that this light could have had to pass through to hit your eyeball.
Yeah.
Which is simply amazing. It is really amazing. That light from a star 3 million light years away passed through space and is actively hitting your face.
Dog.
Right. That's the sun. I mean, it could warm it a little. No, maybe it could give your dog something to look at, but it is cool. But back to that light traveling to Alpha Centauri. From the perspective of the light, it traveled instantaneously. No time passed to go from Earth to that galaxy. But from an observer, it took 2.5 million years. And
Now, is there a term for seeing new light? Like, I understand, like, supernova is when a star burns out.
Explodes.
Or explodes, yeah, whatever. No more.
Right.
Is it even possible, like, to see a star created?
I would think.
New light?
New light, yeah.
Like, okay.
I would think new light is created all the time. Because you could have stars that weren't putting off light prior, that were simply illuminated by the light of others. And then you get the chemical processes going necessary for it to generate its own light. In fact, you could even argue that a light bulb switching from off to on provides you new light every time it turns on, because it's light that wasn't there previously. And it's not relying on the reflection of light from another source. That would be my perspective on it, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I heard this freaking crazy conundrum, but his name's Dr. Amika Swami.
Okay.
He was like, okay, so you're sitting here, and you do.
So he's fun to listen to.
Yeah, and he's like, you're sitting and you've never seen Cincinnati. So does Cincinnati exist? And you say, yeah, because I've heard of it. And like, the way he explained it is like, no, because you've never seen it. Like, until you observe something, I don't know, it's quantum physics. But it freaking blew my mind.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, you'll have to write his name down for me, and I'll go and look it up.
Gosh, I can really put this in terms here. Me and you are observing this box.
Yes.
It's got a flap open.
It says Christmas on it.
It says Christmas. It's a Christmas box.
Yep.
Now, if me nor you never observed, we've never seen that box.
Right.
Does that box exist? It's a weird.
It's a weird question. I would think there are a number of different factors that would come into play. How do you define exist?
Within your consciousness.
Within my consciousness. If I and I hadn't prior to the fact that you
What's a conundrum?
pointed out that box. To me, I never noticed that box. So, from my perspective, until you pointed it out, there was no box there. I had no idea there was a box there.
It's a weird thing, you know. You think of Seattle. You've never been to Seattle.
No.
But you know Seattle's real.
I saw it in an episode of Frasier once.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
But I know what you mean.
It's a weird... Something I love about science is how deep it goes.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a beautiful thing to see science and see it work.
Yeah.
Because science doesn't always have an answer, and it doesn't always have a question. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about it is along the journey, there's a lot of serendipity in science. Serendipity being finding things along the way while looking for something else. And I think that's actually one of the foundations of science. Is there are so many things that we figure out when we didn't know we needed to be looking for them. There are so many questions that we don't even know to ask.
Yeah.
And by performing our science and doing it right and diligently and having it peer reviewed and having it be reproducible, we further not only our own knowledge about the material world around us, but perhaps along the way we find some answers that get us asking questions. Why did this happen? Because it wasn't expected. And why does it happen again when we still don't expect it? And I think that's one of the most interesting things about science is the unknown and how science handles that.
No, it's always good to. That's what I think too. You have this. It's just basic. You have a thought. You have a experience or experiment. And you have a theory or a result or.
And the scientific method is something you can use in just about any application you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
What will happen if I let's do something let's do something fun. I enjoyed making dry ice bombs as a child because I was a hooligan, and so you could do that in the terms of a science experiment. What would happen if I put dry ice in a pop bottle with water? That's your question. My hypothesis is that if I put dry ice in a pop bottle with water and close the lid, that the rapid release of gas from the dry ice will cause the bottle to expand to the point that it explodes. Then you test that, and it makes a tremendously loud boom. It makes everybody laugh and fear that the cops can be called. And then you have your conclusion. What happened? It made the bottle explode. You know what's fun about it? It's reproducible. What happens if I
lost audio for a second?
Are you turning us off?
Yeah, my shoe hit the power.
See how you are. Well, welcome back to the Experts of None podcast. We may have had an audio issue here, and you may not have heard me explain my dry ice
like 5 seconds
bomb experience, which is okay for those of you that were directly affected by it.
My sandwich fell off. Hit the switch on the surge protector, and
some people's kids.
If that light was off, like now.
Oh, we are at the 150 mark, and since we work in the morning, we should probably try to find a nice ending.
Yeah. So well, though.
This, I think for our second broadcastable.
I don't hear you.
You don't. Oh, I bet the phantom power's off.
I unplugged you.
Oh, you unplugged me.
Yeah.
I see how you are. You don't want to listen to me.
Oh, there you are.
There we are.
There we are.
I think for our second going to be published podcast, this has gone really well. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better than the first round.
I think so.
We'll both have some headphones hopefully for the next one, and we'll be able to tell if he turns off the audio accidentally at any point in time.
That's still it's a weird thing. Here, try it.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's strange. So, you're listening to me talking, but it's weird, like there's a lag.
I'm hyper aware of my voice right now,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I like it.
It's weird.
We might have to turn that down on the headphones.
Just that.
At least the audio turns out well.
See, you prolong your words.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, because you're waiting for yourself to finish. Oh, that's trippy. We'll have to figure something out on that front. Oh God. Okay.
So what time is it?
It is 1:41 a.m. on Friday morning, April 19th, 2017.
May 19th.
It is May 19th because I can't count at 1:45 in the morning.
That wine is really good.
It is delicious. It's good. We'll have to try a different flavor. This one was cherry plum. I had a little bit of this one before they gave me this bottle, and it was good. And that's why I picked it for today, because I knew it was going to be good. I've got a few that I haven't tried. I think they're still going to be delicious, although probably a little bit extra sweet. And they need to be degassed before we drink them. Yeah, these are homemade wines.
Gas?
So what they did, and they did it for my first two bottles before they gave them to me, is they actually they bottled it and they let them sit for a while. And then they poured them out into their mixer bowl, and they just turned the mixer on slow and let the gas kind of come out. I guess they had one batch where their flatulence was so bad they were about ready to fly off their couch, which the thought made me laugh, and so they said it was important to gas them a little bit. And I can see that. And we get a little bit of sediment build up in the bottom. These are clean, but I do have a couple that have some sediment. So as it's gassing, they rinse the bottle and then pour it back in.
Experts of None, now sponsored by Beano.
I mean, this is a February 2017 vintage, so it didn't have all the time it needed. but it still produced a wonderful flavor. They actually used brandy in their wine, which I thought was very interesting.
Oh, that's what hits you.
It comes around and smacks you up a bit, but it's so good. The flavors, beautiful. You and me both. Hopefully, at some point in time, we'll get enough followers here that we can push out more content and actually pay our mortgages doing this. I think that it would be so cool. I would love that.
Follow, subscribe.
Yes, we have a Facebook page. I will put a link down here somewhere.
We need photos.
And we need a logo, and I need to fill all this black space you see. Where am I at? Over here. We'll fill the black space. We'll get a nice background. We'll put stuff there. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I've got accounts set up for everything. Shoot us a message or a line. Like, subscribe,
dislike.
I mean, yeah.
If you hate us,
Let us know. Is why? That's my question. Why?
Fuck you up.
Well, maybe not that, but let us know what we can do better. If you have any ideas on topics you'd like us to discuss or cover, we'll do our homework prior to the show and come together and talk about it. Whatever it is. Of none. I mean, right. And it is. We are experts. And that's one of our goals is just to expand our own knowledge and hope you come along for the ride. So I want to thank everybody that has stuck with us for this episode, which is 2 hours.
Thank you. How many views is there? Last one.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look.
Ooh. I'll check right now.
He's gonna look. He's gonna look right now. Right. He's actually over here relative to me.
Over or under 10?
I'm gonna go under 10. I'm gonna say 6. Is that too much?
Oh, 12. Joe Henderson watched it.
Did he? He's gonna be our biggest fan. We'll have to get him a T-shirt. Now we're recording. So now we have podcast Inception. Hashtag not sponsored by Inception. We did. And today I wore my plus 20 shirt of Smiting, which is very stylish. I actually have quite a number of these novelty T-shirts that I never wear anywhere because I don't find them appropriate in my professional setting. So I think this is probably the space for me to display my unique T-shirt collection.
But wait a minute. 2 views.
2 views!
Which can't be accurate because
it might be more than that. It might just be the whole YouTube view counting thing. We should make sure Joe likes. If he liked it, he should like our video. And if you like what we're doing here, please like, subscribe. Like I said before, we'll put some links to some social media in the description down below. And just thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please pay my mortgage.
Not you personally.
No.
As collectively.
A couple million of you.
Yeah. We could start a Patreon page.
We could
do that.
GoFundMe.
Maybe not GoFundMe. So, yeah, at Citizen Podcast. And if you are in the area and you'd like to join us, we would be more than happy to have you. So please shoot us a line with your contact information, and we will we'll get you scheduled to come on.
Yes.
Get another camera and microphone set up, and we'll.
But you're in the middle.
Right in the middle. I mean, there's a whole space kind of floats. You can, if I get over here far enough, you can see my. There I am. I mean, we could.
Because then we'd be looking at the
Right. We could, yeah. Yeah, so if you have ideas on that too, just kind of let us know. We can do whatever. So
like the drones.
I think the drones would be cool.
That's silly.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. I have a drone. I'll have to bring it over sometime. We'll play with the drone. Yeah, the podcast. It's not very expensive. I think I only paid like $200 for it, but it's fun. I flew down the stairs once. It flipped. So yeah, thank you all, and we hope to see you on the next podcast episode of Experts of None.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.